So which one, if you don't understand, let me know. Or Leonard, if you don't understand, just let me know. So over here, we are in router 2. That's this guy, R2. This is our routing table. We get this by show IP route. So for show IP route, when we come here, it knows how to get to the one network. That's why when we do a ping, we send the packets here. It's we have a static route here now that knows how to get here. And this guy knows, that's why we're able to receive here. But over here in R3, when we do a show IP route, it has no information about the one network. And our ping is coming from this guy, that is 1.1. That's why it's failing. Is that fine? Yeah, Richmond, is that fine? Richmond, you do Leonard, is that fine?
Can you hear me? Or can you hear?
I can hear you. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So now, if we want to be able to reach this guy, we have to let this guy be aware of this network. So you have to do a static route here, that IP route. That's when you want to go to the 192.168.1 network. Your forwarders IP address should be what? So what IP do you think I have to put here? I'm listening. What's IP? Leonard, what IP do you think I have to put here? Edu, Richmond.
This is it not subnet mask?
No, I've already put my mark. This forwarders IP.
Which network is he trying to reach?
He's trying to reach the one network.
So we have to
IP route one. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, so this then I've put my IP. I'm saying if I want to reach this network, I have to put an IP address. It should follow.
Then you have to pass through router 2.
So I have to pass through router 2. So I'll use the IP here because it knows this IP. That'll be 192.168.2.1.
2.0.
The 0 is the network. So .1 is what is configured here. So we come to our routing table on router 3. Show IP routes. So if we come here, we see now this guy knows how to reach the one network. So now if we do our ping here, let's see. Will it go through? It won't go through. If you are pinging this guy that is 2.2, will it go through? It won't go through.
And then 2.2.
Okay, so the answer is to go through because when the packet gets to 3 knows how to reach the one network. So the traffic will go through. Okay, so if I'm here, will I be able to ping this guy? And why? And what should I do? I'm on router 2. Will I be able to ping? Let's do it quick. We don't have a lot of time. We have very short time, so you guys have to answer quickly. Will I be able to ping 3.1? That is this guy.
Well, you are router 2.
I'm here. If I'm here, will I be able to ping this port? That is
yes, you should. Yeah. No, this. Yeah, you should be able to ping it.
Okay, Richmond, will I be able to ping it?
This.
Hold on. You said, will you be able to ping which one?
Will I be able to ping this port over here, the 3.1 ports here? I'm in router 2 now. Okay, so the answer, okay.
You can't ping it.
Why?
No, you can't ping.
Why?
That's the routing table, right?
Yeah, that's the routing table.
Yes, so I don't think it has any idea of how to reach it.
Yes, so router 2 doesn't know how to reach the 3 network from this routing table. So obviously it won't go. It will fail. So that is one. So now we can do, if we are to do a static route, as we are doing, we'll do a static route. But let's do it quickly so that we do the static route, because that's not the main topic we have today. So static, so we can do a static route here. IP route. Okay, configure terminal. Configure terminal. IP route. So that's the 192.168.3.0 network 255.255.255.0. So what will be the forwarders IP over here? If someone can just tell me quickly.
That should be router 3.
Yes,
The
router.
IP should be
So it will be this port.
192.168.2.2.
So now I have it here. Will I be able to ping this guy now? Will I be able to ping this guy now?
3.1.
Will I be able to ping 3.1? And why?
Yeah, you should be able to. You have it defined the static route.
Will I be able to ping 3.1 and why?
Yeah, you should be able to ping it now because you've defined it.
Okay. I'll be able to ping it because it's defined, but another reason is because this guy also knows how to reach it.
Yeah.
So not just because I've defined, but because 3 also has how to reach 2 dots, the 2 network. So will I be able to ping dot 2, 3.2? Will I be able to ping 3.2?
From router 2.
Okay, I'm coming. Let me use the text. Let me use the text to write so that you guys will see where the IPs are. I think maybe
IPs are.
you don't get where the IPs are. So. So now everyone knows where the IPs are. So so that we can have it quickly when we do it. You have your network. So over here, will I be able to ping 3.2? Richmond, will I be able to ping 3.2? Yes or no, and why?
Hold on, I'm not really here. Sorry. You said, will you be able to ping what?
3.2.
3.2.
You have to check static. I don't think.
You don't think? Okay, why? Why do you think I'll be able
to? You are in router 2.
Yeah, I'm in router 2.
So router
3.2
is router 4.
No.
Why? Why no?
3.2 is in router 4. Because you don't find a router 4 doesn't know how to reach.
The 3.2 doesn't know how. It might not have that particular IP in its routing table.
Okay, so we go here, show IP route.
That's router 4.
Yeah, okay, so so even though this guy knows how to reach here, this guy doesn't know any idea of any of these networks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to configure it. Configure terminal. So what will be the forwarders IP? Where will I forward it to? What will be my next hop? What will be my next stop if I want to go? What will be my next
hop should be it should be on the port on router 3. 3.1.
3.1. So that will be our next stop. So now it means this guy should be able to hit 3.2 now. And now it's successful, as you can see. So over here, will I be able to ping 3.2 and why? Will I be able to ping 3.2 and why? This router one, R1, will I be able to ping 3.2?
3.2. Yes, you should be able to ping 3.2. Oh, no. On router 1, we've not defined the routes. Router 4 doesn't know how to reach router 1.
Yeah, so even this router one doesn't know any, it doesn't know how to reach the 3 network.
How to reach
So we have to configure it. So configure. So you see how static routes is very, just for routers, you have to do back and forth. So that's, we do this just so that you understand why dynamic routes are very important and how it's very simple to deploy. So I'll do this, the rest I'll just do it. I will explain. If you have an issue, you can just let me stop and I continue. So my next stop will be this guy, since I'm directly connected. That'll be .1.2. Then I will come to the route I want to do it. I see my static route. So show run. Show IP route. I don't know how to get to the .1 network, so I have to put it here. So configure terminal. And your subnet mask. Then your forwarded IP will be what? 3.1. So now I think I should be able to, I believe I should be able to ping it. I believe so. Yeah, so now everything is reachable on the network now. You can ping in from anywhere now because you've done static routes all, but as you can all see, it's very cumbersome and it's not that if you have a very big network, you use ES2. So I'll remove all the static routes, then we'll do dynamic routes. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so let's do it quickly. I'll start from your show run.
Okay.
Okay, so now we don't have any static routes again anywhere. As you can see, so there's no static route. Show IP route. There's no static route here. Let's just confirm that true. Show IP route. There is no static route here. There's no static route here. We'll do OSPF. So OSPF is open shortest path first. It's a dynamic routing protocol that is used in networks to help with the reachability of devices on a network. So we'll just start with the configuration. I think you can go through with what it is later. You can have videos to watch. So basically, if you want to configure any routing protocol on a router, you use the router command. So if you use I think here is where you're doing it. So I think everyone can pay attention. If you have any question, you can ask. So you use the router command. You have your BGP, EIGRP, OSPF rep. Today we'll be doing OSPF. So OSPF configuration is, we want to understand why dynamic routing is very important. We saw the complications we had when we were doing static routes. So for OSPF, you just do OSPF. Your next is your process ID. So your process ID is, you have 1 to 65535, but we just use 1 for all our OSPF. So the only thing you do when that is, you can have your router ID. So if you don't set your router ID to be chosen with your highest IP address on it, for us, we'll not set router ID on this particular demonstration. So you have your process ID set. The next thing is only your network. So you only put the network you want the other routers on your OSPF network to be aware of. That's all you do. That's the only configuration you do for basic OSPF networks. So here all we type is network. We want this network to be broadcasted on our OSPF because that's the only network we are connected to. So we do network 192.168.1.0. 255.255.255.0. Then we have an area. So you have your area over there. You have a lot of areas you can use. Area 0 is your backbone area. You could have sub areas there. You can, and they have different type of areas you can have. You can have a stub area and or that. But for now, for this demonstration, we're using the area 0. That is our backbone area. So that's the only configuration you do. You do your IPOS. So let's go back, exit. We do our show run to see the config I did. So this is the OSPF. I just did a router ID and then I did network. I came here. This all you do. I'm done with that. So you only set your process ID and then you could set your router ID. But for now, we are not setting it. And then I only set the network I want to broadcast on the OSPF area. So I come to this guy. I go to configure terminal. So I do router OSPF. So router OSPF. The process ID is 1. So the network I have 2 networks directly connected. So I want to broadcast these networks. For this router, I want to broadcast the 1 network and the 2 networks. So that's all I add. 192.168.1.0 255.255.255.255.2.0. This one will be area 0. It's all one area for now. So I just come and I want to broadcast this network to everyone in the OSPF. So as you can see, this OSPF link has already been established over here. Let me see, configure terminal. Router OSPF 1. Network, so network, I want to add this network 2. Exit. Then we do WR. Exit, then we show around so that you see the configuration for the OS. So the OSPF, all I did is router ID and I added these 2 networks. So I come here, router 1. I say, so I do show IP OSPF neighbor to see if my neighbor relationship is formed. Already, my neighbor relationship is formed with my directly connected neighbor over here. Then I can do my show IP routes. I see when I do show IP routes, I see I'm already getting a route on OSPF from 2.0 network. I hope you can all see it. From this guy, I didn't have to do any configuration here. I did it. This guy, because I set 2.0, is already sharing it here. So over here, I'll be able to ping the 192.168.2.1 without doing any configuration on this guy about this network. This dynamically got it. So I just move on to the OSPF configuration. I go to router 3, configure terminal, router, OSPF, the process ID is 1. I just add the networks. I want for router 3, I have 2 directly connected networks I want to add in it. So I come to network 192.168.2.0 network. This is my subnet mask. And then area 0, enter. And I want to add a 3. So I add a 3. It's here, it's establishing a connection with this guy. So because I added a network that they are both sharing, so it's establishing a network. So I can exit here. Let me come to router 2. Show IP OSPF neighbor to see my neighbors. I have 2 neighbors, as you can see. I have this neighbor that is 1.1. This guy, I have another neighbor that is 2.2. And it's just telling me the ports. But then I come back to router 1. I show my neighbors. I only have 1 neighbor. That's my directly connected neighbor. Let me show my routing table now. Show IP routes. I already know of the 3.0 network, as you can see here. I already know of the 3.0 network with no configuration. So I go back here, this router 4, so configure terminal, router, OSPF, the process ID is 1. The networks I want to add is only this network. I'm only directly connected to this network. So network 192.168.3.0, the 255.255.255.0, my area 0. I'm done. I should establish something. So it's establishing it. Then I come here, I do my routing table. I think that is still establishing, so it's not done. Let me come here and see if it's done establishing. So I can come to exit, show IP OSPF neighbor. I have 2 neighbors, so I come back here. Yeah, so now I have the network. I have all these networks here. So Richmond, can you see it?
Which one?
For the
the static
OSPF.
route.
No, for the OSPF.
Nah, I got a call.
You got a call. Okay, so I'll go over again. So you can put your mic. When you don't get it, let me know.
Okay.
So what I was saying was, you saw how cumbersome the static route was. Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine you have a very large network. It will be very difficult to troubleshoot or to even configure. And when you're adding new nodes, it wouldn't be scalable, easily scalable. So we are come to do the OSPF. I had already done it, but I'll go over again. So with the OSPF, it's pretty simple. So whenever you're in a router and you want to configure any routing protocol, you use the router command. So when you use the router command, you can use a question mark. You have it here, all the things you have BGP, EIGRP, OSPF rep. You can configure, but we are using OSPF here. So when you use the OSPF, you'll be asked of your process ID. Usually you use one. You could have a lot of processes running, but we use one. And dynamic routing is pretty simple, unless you want to complicate it with some of maybe reasons. But for now, we'll do it very simple. The only thing we need here is our network, the network we want to add. So in router 1, I'm directly connected to only this network. So I want to broadcast this network to anyone in my OSPF area. So I'll just do network 192.168.1.0. Then I add my subnet mask. Then the area. So OSPF, you have your area. So area 0 is your backbone area. You can add a lot of areas, but area 0 is our backbone area. We use that unless you have other areas that are not in your backbone. You can also add it. So I do this. That's the end of the configuration. I'm done for router 1. Then I move to router 2. I also come to router OSPF. I add the process ID 1. I add the networks I want to broadcast. So here I want to broadcast this network and this network. So I do 192.168.1.0, 255.255.255.0. And then my area is area 0. Then I do the same thing for the other network I want to do too. So immediately I do this, it establishes, because I put the 2 networks, which is here and also here on it, it establishes a connection, OSPF connection. So when it's done, you can use this configuration and this syntax, show IP OSPF neighbor to see your neighbor. I have a neighbor here, it's full, it's DR. So here I can go to check my routing. Edu, is the meeting stopped? Hello, Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see, you can already see this network, this network for router 1. You can already see it here, and it's OSPF. I didn't have to do anything here. So I just go to router 3. That's how simple dynamic routes are. So I come here, I do router OSPF 1. I add a network. The network I want to add for this guy is this network and this network. So I do network 192.168.2.0, 255.255.255. Then my area will be what? 0. Area 0. And then I want to add the 3 network too. So here I'm done. So when I come to router 1, now I try and check. Let's check whether this is done. Exit. So IP OSPF neighbor. We have our connection with this guy, so we should see this. So now as you can see, I'm already seeing the 3 network. I know how to reach it. That if I want to reach it, I should go to 1.2. Then I come here, configure terminal. I do a similar thing, router OSPF run, then network 192.168.3.0, 255.255.255.0, area 0. Exit. That's all. It's connected to only one network, so I'm done. That's all. So over here, I will ping in router 1. I'll ping 192.168.3.1. I'm able to reach it. So you see, Richmond, you see this one, it took less than 2 minutes to configure the whole network. And I don't care what network. I don't have to do any configuration here again. I just have to make sure my OSPF neighbor is connected. That's all. It will learn all the routes. So now if I come to show IP routes, I see my network, what I'm learning via OSPF is here, and I know where to pass the traffic. If I come here to and I do exit, show IP route, I'm learning these two networks via OSPF. That's 1.2. I didn't have to. So if there's a new network that is connected here, you don't have to do anything here. You just have to make sure it's in the OSPF. You are sharing it on this guy and the guy there. So this is the importance of dynamic routes. It's very easy to deploy and you can easily scale your network. So do you have any question?
Is there any significance with the numbering?
Which numbering? Which numbering?
The router OSPF 1.
No, so that's the process ID. So you know it's running a process. It's running a routing protocol process. So that you know that's the process it's running. But usually you don't want to run multiple OSPF processes. You just want to run one process. So and starting from one. And because you are running a big network, you don't want to use different numbers that you confuse yourself. So one is basically ideal and it's fine. It's just a process. It's fine.
Okay, so let's say if I set router OSPF 50, that should be the generation for every or
yes, else it won't work. It won't connect. So let me come to router 1 and change what I had. Configure terminal. And then I do no router OSPF 1. And I now do router OSPF 2. And I do the network 192.168.1.0. Okay. It's actually okay, let's see. It's actually destined on the device, so it wouldn't be much of a problem. It's unique on the device. It is not global. It is not a global something. It is not global. It doesn't share that information, so you should be fine. So you should be fine. It's still fine because it doesn't share that information. So the only time you have an issue is if your area is wrong. That one you have an issue. Okay, so Richmond, do you have any other question? So here, let's say maybe I mistakenly set
so where will it be advisable to use static and then than dynamic? Under which scenario?
So if you have any network that is a big network, you need dynamic routing because you can't do static on it. But also you need static route because sometimes there are some traffic. So let me just give, there are some networks you won't share on your dynamic routing table. So those ones you may use a static route that you only send traffic coming from a particular source to that. So we can just do a quick example, then you see. So let's say I add a small network here. I add a PC here.
You add a private network.
Yes, let's say I add a PC here.
Or a private server.
Okay, let's say I add a server. So let me delete this. Let me say I add a server here, and then there's cancel. Your server is, and so the server is 192.168. Let's say 10.2. 255. It's in the 10 network. So let's say I have this guy in the 10 network and it's connected here. So I come to this guy, exit, interface, gigabit, 0/0/1, no shutdown, IP address 192.168.10.1. 255. Richmond, did you get a question?
It's muted. Hey, our time. 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, so do you see over here? I'm able to ping it because I'm directly connected.
Yes.
But won't be if I come anywhere else and I do show run, not show IP route, show IP route. I'll not have this .10 network. This .10 network that I have.
Yeah.
I'll not have
So
it.
that one becomes more private.
192.168.10.0/24. This network will not be here because over here it might show run. This network is not here because in my OSPF, I've not added this network in my OSPF process ID. So it's not broadcasting this network to these people.
Mm.
Do you get it, Edu?
Yeah.
Yes, but probably you still want to share this network with someone. You still want to share this network that whenever it's you want to get here, maybe do something. So you can maybe let's come here and let's see something. Okay, so let's just come here. So here, let's say ping 192.168.10.1. I won't be able to reach it because I don't have this 10 network broadcasting to this guy because it's not in my OSPF. I've not added it because I don't want this network